some big Nintendo news, lots of new games, and the daily gaming news recap coming right up. Finally got a haircut. Welcome back to Sodi Pop right here on YouTube. Today is Monday, August 24th. I'm Matty, and this is Chatty with Matty, the daily gaming news recap. We have a lot to discuss, so let's hop right in. Got my drink? Let's chat. So to begin with, we're going to go right to Summer Games Fest because we saw DC fandom happen this weekend on the 22nd. With that, we got a whole bunch of DC news, including a new Batman movie, but more importantly, we got to see Suicide Squad kill the Justice League, just a little teaser trailer for that, and we'll jump into what the gameplay is in that game because it may not be what you expect. Also, Gotham Knights, which finally puts to rest the next Batman game rumors and exactly what that is. But we're going to put that on pause for a moment because we have opening night live coming from Gamescom 2020. There's a whole bunch of possible new games. We're going to jump into Jeff Keighley and what he said about opening night live for Gamescom 2020. So he said, number one, the show is live from a studio in Los Angeles. We're being very careful, no live audience. Currently 38 games in the show from 18 different publishers. Expected runtime about 2 hours, so pretty big. More to share in the coming days. He was careful to say there will be some new game announcements, but like opening night live last year, the show is primarily focused on updates from announced titles. So no, we aren't announcing 38 new games, just to keep that clear. He also says, so far we have announced the reveal of Doom Eternal campaign expansion and the reveal of Season 2 of Fall Guys for Thursday. There will be much more to share in the coming days in our titles. Also, the show is open for co-streaming on Twitch and YouTube, so please watch and share. If you guys want me to watch it and when we can watch it together, let me know. That would be a fun time. It's 2 hours, so it'd just be us hanging out, reacting to stuff. So we got Suicide Squad here. The trailer looks really good. It's a CG trailer. Doesn't tell us much about the game, but essentially we get to see Harley Quinn, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Deadshot. Those four characters. Now, seemingly, this game looks to be more humorous than most of Rocksteady's games. Remember, they made that Batman Arkham series, and those were pretty serious games. Batman was a very serious actor, and of course, this seems to be more slapstick humor. I'm very curious what it's eventually going to be. The one thing they did not show or talk about really was gameplay, and I'm very curious. Is this going to be a traditional Batman game where you think like Spider-Man game kind of gameplay? Well, we got from Business Wire here, Warner Brothers Interactive. This is what they call it. So Warner Brothers, this is coming from Burbank, California. Of course, Business Wire. Warner Brothers Games and DC today announced Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a new genre-bending action-adventure shooter that can be played solo or with up to 4 players in online co-op. Based on the iconic DC character and developed by Rocksteady Studios, creators of critically acclaimed Batman Arkham series, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League combines the studio's signature character-driven story gameplay with third-person shooter action to deliver a gaming experience unlike any other. Now that will be coming in 2022 for PC, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5. So number one, it will be next gen. Number two, it's a 4-person co-op, and it looks like you can switch between the characters, so maybe the characters are always there together and then you can have people jump in and jump out. Number three, and probably the most important, it's a shooter. It's a shooter. It's not a beat 'em up like Batman was, so maybe they're just doing a different genre of game. I'm completely fine with that. I think Rocksteady has the talent to pull it off for sure. Very excited what they come up with. Not having the same formula excites me more because I think for me the Suicide Squad isn't super exciting. I don't love the Suicide Squad movie. I mean, the movie I did not like at all. And Suicide Squad isn't as exciting as a lot of other superhero stuff. So I'm excited to see that they're switching it up with a shooter, but this is not 100% confirmed. I haven't seen anything else come out around it other than this Business Wire article. So be skeptical until you actually see gameplay and we start fully hearing about this as well. Also, we got Gotham Knights revealed. Now we got a full trailer. It starts out with Batman is dead. This is a code black. Everyone needs to round up. It looks like it's going to have Batwoman, Robin, Nighthawk, and then the Red Hood, which is, long story short, also kind of another Robin type character. You should definitely watch Under the Red Hood if you haven't. So what I want to get to was his gameplay, and looks like changes to the actual Batman gameplay. So it looks to be more RPG. Number one, you see they're battling Mr. Freeze here. He has his health bar at the top. It looks like he has an alert symbol next to him, so obviously he has multiple status effects. So right now he has a fire status effect. Just previously he had an electric status effect, so way more RPG. Batman did not have that recently. Also, it's harder to see it in this gameplay, but there were numbers popping off of him and like XP popping. Definitely way more focused on leveling than previous Batman games were, and you'll be leveling up all 4 of the Gotham Knights I previously mentioned. So it seems like a drop-in, drop-out co-op. You can play as anyone, and I'm not sure if the experience pool will be shared between all the different Gotham Knights, or maybe like the Avengers game, you kind of individually level up the Gotham Knights and such. But we will see. It actually looks like a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited for it. Excited to move on to the stories of the different characters. This is coming from WB Montreal, so again, not a Rocksteady game, not from the original Arkham trailer. Today we got Lord of the Rings Gollum, so we're gonna go ahead and watch this teaser trailer here. Now, Lord of the Rings has been pretty absent as of recent. Again, there is the Lord of the Rings game apparently being made by WB Studios for Amazon. We haven't seen any of that yet, but when WB Studios was up for sale, that was one of the things, is like the Lord of the Rings property will not carry over. The Batman property will not carry over with the sale of the studios. Again, the sale has been canceled. So this game is concentrating on Gollum. Number one, Gollum will be based off the books that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote, not the movies that Peter Jackson directed. So be very aware of that. Also, there's going to be like night raids and the Lich King and stuff, but again, it's going to be based off the book, so a lot of things can look different than what you might expect from the movies themselves. And it's not going to be a big hack and slash adventure. It seems to be much more interested in sneaking around, much more stealth gameplay. So they finally revealed it, and it will be next gen, Xbox Series X and PS5, so just keep that in mind. And if you haven't yet, please like, follow, subscribe, comment down below. I'm trying to bring you the best and most updated news, kind of wrap the stories up for you in a nice, digestible way while providing some good, valuable feedback. I would love some feedback from myself down below. Also, share with anyone you think might be interested, and subscribing and sharing does really help me out. All right, moving on to the big news story, Nintendo. So Nintendo, number one, we've been waiting for Nintendo Direct. We've been hearing so much about the Nintendo Switch Pro and new games. Nintendo's been pretty quiet for the exception of Pikmin 3 Remake, but we see here that we might be getting a Nintendo Direct, a full one coming soon. So this is coming from Video Game Chronicles, pretty much all this is, and this is reporting on what Jeff Grubb was saying. So from the text here, that according to VentureBeat, Jeff Grubb, a journalist who has built a reputation for correctly reporting upcoming industry events, speaking in the publication's most recent video game show, Grubb added credence to the recent claims that there will be a Nintendo Direct later this month. According to the journalist sources, Nintendo will likely hold a live stream next Friday, he said, so this coming Friday. The date matches what similar insiders said earlier this week. Remember, we got that last week from someone on the Resetera forums, so credence again. I've heard a few things, and I think there's a strong possibility that there is a Nintendo Direct next week on Friday the 28th. That's the date I've heard, Grubb said on Friday. However, the journalist encouraged some caution as to the actual content of such a live stream, pointing to the recent, quote, partner direct in July, which was highly anticipated by fans due to similar insider leaks, but ended up focusing entirely on third-party games. Quote, at the end of the show, they said, we're going to have more partner showcase coming up soon. So anything I hear in the back of my mind, there's always that ringing in an echo. Grubb added, however, quote, I think there are lots of signs pointing to the next week being a general direct, and there is a general direct coming up, it seems to be like for sure. I was also hearing before the Nintendo Direct announced that they were having a special meeting with investors in the middle of September, he said. Quote, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to get a Direct out of the way before that happens so they don't have to answer questions like what games will be coming up. So, it seems like there's a possible Nintendo Direct coming on Friday. At the very least, they will have one before, it seems like mid-September. We're going to jump into that a little bit later. So this also coming from VGC, Nintendo Magazine says it will reveal a new Switch game in September. So a Japanese Nintendo Magazine has teased an important game announcement for its September issue. Nintendo Dream reportedly said it would reveal a Nintendo Switch game that everyone will enjoy in its next issue, which is due out September 19th. The announcement could possibly be related to the expected announcement of Nintendo's first-party teams in the coming weeks. The company recently told Japanese press that investors would hold a special management briefing session on Wednesday, September 16th, which itself is 3 days before the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary, though unlikely to be the focus of the meeting. So again, we are getting Nintendo news. It seems like in the coming weeks, if not at the end of August, the beginning or middle of September, we've been starved for like big Nintendo updates. And the biggest of all, will there be a new Nintendo Switch? No, not a Switch Lite. Will there be a Switch 2? Will it be a Switch Pro? Well, new sources report. So again, from Video Game Chronicles, a new Nintendo Switch model will launch next year, a new report claims. Nintendo will launch a new Nintendo Switch model early next year, a report citing manufacturing sources has claimed. Taipei-based newspaper Economic Daily News claimed on Tuesday that the new Switch would enter production later this year with a launch planned for Q1 2021. According to the publication, the new Switch model will feature an upgraded interactivity and improved display quality. The report cites the various hardware manufacturers responsible for the Switch's flash storage, Joy-Con controller, and more. So this joins a whole slew of reports that we've seen before. There's some sort of Nintendo Switch coming. Now this sounds more like an upgraded Nintendo Switch Pro rather than a Nintendo Switch 2, which makes sense if you're going to launch a full new hardware line to compete with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Well, it would be a bit too late to do that now, but an updated Nintendo Switch would have me clamoring for it. I would assume that they would have to update Nintendo Switch because the new third-party games that are coming out for Xbox Series X and PS5 are going to have a tough time running on the current Nintendo Switch. Now again, they all are pretty much based on PC hardware, so I'm sure there's some scalability there, but we're already seeing a lot of issues with that. You know, the current FIFA or the Pro Evolution Soccer will not be coming on the Nintendo Switch. So I'm very excited to hear more. Number one is that they have currently the X1 Tegra processor running in the newest Nintendo Switch, which makes it a bit more efficient, makes the battery last longer, and there have been updates to that Tegra processor since the X1, you know, a year or two ago, whatever it was. Also, it'd be cooler to get a really nice crisp screen. And remember, Nvidia is making the tech for this Nintendo Switch, which AMD is making the tech or the graphics card and CPU for the Series X and the PS5. Nvidia has that DLSS 2.0, which makes that fake 4K, right? It uses a software analysis to take a 1080p or a lower res stream and make it into what looks like 4K. And if you've seen any Digital Foundry or anyone's kind of review of that DLSS 2.0, they said it works extremely well. And for the developers, what it does is it frees up GPU, CPU space to do other things while making the game still look gorgeous. So maybe will we see that in the new Nintendo Switch update? We possibly could. Remember, it's in the realm of possibility with Nvidia. So updated battery, I'm sure, updated screen, I'm sure it'll be pro feeling, it'll feel real nice. Hopefully they upgrade the Joy-Cons to just be better, because remember, there's continually Joy-Con drift issues. Ubisoft, they made a really strange decision. So this is coming directly from the Ubisoft support website. Ubisoft Store changes the collector's edition pre-orders for Xbox, specifically in the UK, mind you. So pre-orders for the collector's edition of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 4, Watch Dogs Legion for Xbox will receive a digital key to redeem instead of a physical disc. Collector's Edition for PlayStation will receive a physical game disc. This is crazy for two separate reasons. Number one is a Collector's Edition. You're spending $120, $180, $200 on a big edition. You are a collector. You want that physical game disc. That is such a huge deal to collectors in general. It's crazy. Also, it's only for one system and it's only in the UK. What a strange decision. It being specifically only for the Xbox seems like such a slap in the face, especially when you take into account that Assassin's Creed Valhalla was really paired with Xbox Series X and their announcement earlier this year. Remember, I think it was June or July when they had their announcement. The big end cap to that whole thing was Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. Now remember, that was a whole deal because they promised gameplay and we didn't see gameplay. It was more CG trailer. But what a weird decision. Really sucks for collectors, and hopefully they reverse this. And it's really weird, and it only affects a small subset of people. Remember, this is only in the UK and only for the Series X version, so just keep that in mind. Also, we are getting updates currently for more different reward challenges. Jesland here talks about Halo Infinite. So I've seen this quite a few places. Halo Infinite was delayed. There's been rumors as to why it has been delayed, everywhere from the virus to mismanagement to being distracted with the TV series. Also, there's a lot of outsourcing. It seems like the TV series, no, they have a full separate team for that. That was debunked. But everything else is still on the table. Again, they're just rumors, pretty much unsubstantiated. A lot of the stuff that I'd seen was taken directly from Glassdoor reviews. People were pointing to, oh, I have an insider. That insider might be just someone reviewing on Glassdoor. Who knows? So keep that in mind. But Halo Infinite, everyone is saying now that it's being held back by the Xbox One version. You're developing for last gen, and that keeps it to a quality bar that brings it down further than the Xbox Series X is capable of. If you listen to a Digital Foundry podcast I did recently, it was about 45 minutes. They made sure to say, we really hope that when they revisit this and a year out from now, they cancel it for the Xbox One, but they make it only available to the Xbox One or Series X and Series S exclusive. This lends credence to it. This is another industry insider, journalist type, Jesland3 from Twitter. There's a rumor Halo Infinite on the Xbox One might be canceled, going Xbox Series X exclusive. I'm willing to bet money that this isn't going to happen. So I'm curious. I would think that it wouldn't happen because they have a lot more owners of the Xbox One out there, and it would definitely piss them off. And unless Xbox Series X sells like crazy out the gate, I mean, you just have such a small install base. Again, it is coming out for the PC, so that always puts a wrench in there where we haven't had to consider that previously before. But just crazy. Let me know what you think below, if it will be canceled for the Xbox One, if it should be canceled for the Xbox One, and why you think that. Cyberpunk continuing the Witcher 3 legend, some amazing stuff here. So Cyberpunk 2077 will have free DLC like The Witcher 3. This coming from gadgetcrutches.com. CD Projekt Red's open world RPG promises to deliver a deep sci-fi universe with the storytelling and questing style that was so successful in The Witcher 3. And it seems that it will not be the only heritage of the fantasy game, since the study confirms that there will be free DLC in Cyberpunk 2077. Now, don't expect the big game expansions to be free. For reference, the free DLC for The Witcher 3 ranged from loose bonus missions to additional outfits, new weapons and armor, card sets for Gwent, and New Game Plus mode, among other things. Through Twitter and with a gif of a Kool-Aid mascot, because that's how announcements are made today, the official Cyberpunk 2077 account confirmed the news. In the last year, CD Projekt Red has spoken on more than one occasion about offering the same content strategy as The Witcher 3 in its new adventure, Cyberpunk 2077, where they also stated that its expansion program will be similar to that of Geralt of Rivia's game. The third installment of the Witcher saga featured 2 paid expansions and 16 free DLCs that, with confirmation, there will be free content in your new game. We will see if the figure remains even or even exceeds them. So that is awesome. CD Projekt Red is really good at releasing DLC. They definitely do not nickel and dime their fans, with The Witcher in particular. So hopefully Cyberpunk 2077 is number one, just a great game, and then we get a little bit more out of it. And man, I love the story expansions that they do, because it is like a whole nother 10-12 hour game to a game if you hopefully already love it. I think they do it super well, and I hope other publishers follow suit. Also, I played a little bit of the Avengers beta this weekend. I actually had a lot of fun with it. I think there's faults to it. You know, I have the PS4 Pro, and it looked fine on the PS4 Pro. It didn't like shine. I think I will have fun with it. I think I'm gonna actually purchase it. Looks like a really fun game. I didn't like all the Avengers play very differently. I really like playing as Captain America. I think that was the most fun. Bruce Banner was fine as the Hulk. I didn't enjoy the way Thor played, although I only played him for a minute or two. And I really didn't enjoy the way Iron Man played, which was weird. I thought the way he looked was amazing, but the way he played was just, you just kind of point and shoot, and he's very slow, which is pretty odd. And Black Widow actually played really well too. So, interesting game, lots of different play styles. I think it will actually be pretty cool, and it's going to be 90 gigabytes download on the PS4. I'm not sure about the Series X, but it's a big download, so just keep that in mind. This is coming from the FPS review. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Ti can't run Avengers at 4K 60 FPS, even at low settings. So for reference, a 2080 Ti is one of the best graphics cards you can possibly buy, very high end. Now, 4K 60 frames per second, remember, that is tough for any graphics card to run just in general. So you can get there, but it is difficult. Now, that's what they're saying with the new gaming systems coming out, the PS5, Xbox Series X, that it might be better, instead of going native 4K, get that DLSS 2.0 or like the second generation of checkerboarding, something that fakes 4K, but you get 90% of the cool visuals from it, but you don't have so much effort put on the processor and the graphics unit, and that way you can get more frames per second. That way you can get more things out of it when getting most. So it's like you're really giving up a little bit of visual fidelity for a great gain. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and read this here now. It appears that we have another disappointing PC port on our hands. DSO Gaming took Crystal Dynamics Avengers for a spin and found that NVIDIA's flagship GPU RTX 2080 Ti could not run the game on 60 frames per second in 4K. Even at its lowest setting, in fact, that doesn't come close, with frame rates dropping to 45 frames per second or lower. DSO Gaming also wrote that the performance difference between ultra and high settings is only 6 frames per second, which seems to confirm that this is just shameful porting effort. Players have pointed out that the game doesn't look at all impressive to begin with either, so some serious updates appear to be in order. On the other hand, the NVIDIA RTX 2080 Ti was able to run the game at 25 by 60, 2560 by 1440, so 1440p, on ultra settings with mostly 60 frames per second. DSO Gaming noted, "We did notice some drops to the 45 frames per second when there were chaotic battles. Still, the game is more than enjoyable with those settings, and its AA or anti-aliasing solution is also great. If you'd like to try the beta out for yourself, you can try it in the following link, in August 23rd on Steam for the beta." Very exciting. Again, the game I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's not going to be a 10 by 10 at all by any means. I don't think it will. But again, that was a beta, so hopefully they improve the port of the PC. Hopefully they improve it all overall. I can see them doing, this is a games as a service, and they want to be running it for the next many years, so I can see them doing many updates, not to just the gameplay and the visuals, but just to everything, performance and everything. So I'm not too worried about it right now. I know they will be doing updates, and it's actually done pretty decent for what it is currently. All right, guys, well, thank you so much. That about does it for Chatty with Matty this Monday. I thank you so much for the support and kind words. I love doing this every single week for you, at least 3, maybe 4 times a week. I have another fun video coming up for you later this week as well. I hope you had a wonderful time. Remember, follow me on the 3Ts and IG, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm Matty. Have a wonderful day. Remember,
be yourself
and eat a cookie. Bye.